welcome to Selkirk Stadium for match one of the Ballarat Blitz. On behalf of Netball Victoria and the Melbourne Vixens, we would like to acknowledge Wadawurrung people as traditional owners and custodians of lands. We're here today and pay our respects to elders past and present. Well, we have an exciting weekend of netball ahead of us, featuring 4 stellar teams from the Suncorp Super Netball. And this weekend is of course made possible by the support of the City of Ballarat and the Victorian Government. To get us underway, we have the West Coast Fever taking on Giants Netball. My name is Georgia Radjic. I'm joined by Hannah Kua. Hannah, how excited are you for these games we have ahead of us this weekend?
Oh, gee, it is fantastic to be at the netball. Of course, Ballarat, it's a beautiful 28-degree first day of autumn, and geez, start of a new season and start of a new netball season. How lucky are we?
We are very lucky indeed, and it will be Giants captain Jamie Lee Price to get us underway for the first match. Well, Wingrave, the umpire who blew the whistle here, of course, Justin Barnes, the other umpire in this fixture. Sophie Dwyer looking forward. Fever pressing high. Sliger helping out in the transverse line. Into the circle through Harden. Dwyer coming out into the pocket, swing ball to Hay. Does well to hold her space, and Dwyer quickly running onto the court. First penalty against Fran Williams, a penalty pass or shot. Dwyer goes for the offload, and Harden gets the first goal of the afternoon. So let's have a quick run through the teams for who is on court right now. So for the Fever, in goal shooter, it's Olivia Wilkinson. Goal attack, Shanice Beckford. Wing attack, Alice Teague-Neal. Centre, Jess Ansis. Wing defence, Ruth Ariang. Goal defence, Fran Williams. And goalkeeper, Katie Anderhaney.
And for the Giants, it'll be Joe Harden in goal shooter, Sophie Dwyer goal attack, wing attack Maddie Hay, centre Jamie Lee Price, wing defence Amy Sliger, goal defence Jodie Ann Warren, and Erin O'Brien in goalkeeper.
Well, both teams now on the board. Giants using the one channel will play before swinging across again to Price. Beautiful opening of the space for Harden, takes the step in under the post.
And it's lovely to see that Joe Harden, feels like every year we question how much more does she have in the tank, but you see how she sets up, G. She's always in the right position, and even better when her defenders treasure the ball and get it down to her off an intercept.
Well, it looked like a break there for the Fever off their own centre pass. Not something that'd be, well, Justin Barnes resetting the penalty there as well. So, I mean, really relishing the opportunity in the Super Netball. It's the Fever who've had all the traffic. They've won the last 5 fixtures between the two of them. So even in pre-season, a win here would mean a lot for the team that finished bottom of the ladder last season in the Super Netball to get their season on track before it begins.
But at this point, G, when every team is equal top of the ladder, no team has lost. The season hasn't even begun. There is so much hope for both sides. And no doubt, oh no. I was going to say Coach Joe might be, Coach Julie might be excited with what she's seeing, but off that turnover, probably not.
Stepping up, she was 4th in gains for the league last season. That's where she's able to pick up that ball down the other end now for the Fever. Beckford playing with Alice Teague-Neal, takes the step in, a long-range goal. Well, this is not the Fever's first game in Victoria this week. They played against the Mavericks in the pre-season game. You were there earlier this week. Similar lineup to what you saw there. Is this potentially what we're expecting to see throughout this tournament this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of attention on that goal circle because, of course, Janelle, she's the best goaler in the world. She is not suiting up for the Fever at present. So the opportunity presents for someone to take hold of that goal shooter bib, as we see Wilkinson does with that goal. But then the pressure is also put on the goal attacks, the wing attacks and the centres to bring the ball down to circle edge, because no longer can they bomb it up high into Wilkinson. Doesn't quite have the same frame as Janelle.
It's going to be a different style of play to be expected from the Fever this season as well. You know, come Wender on the bench, the play we've seen in Vixen's colours for many years, made the move across. But it'll be interesting to see if she suits up today and if she gets on court, and a held ball down the other end.
How's that for a bit of Rosa's rivalry?
Around, finds Williams. Looking at a long ball to Wilkinson. She can rise high to the challenge. Teague-Neal in the pocket to Wilkinson. Oh, the Victorian connection for the Fever working wonders. And it was the Giants who went out to an early 2-goal lead. They benefited from the early break and now up 4-3. team that really was only one goal away from making the grand final last season. So we know they have success inbuilt into their team culture in recent seasons.
They have success and they also have a lot of structure, and it's really pleasing to see that particularly the goalers, compared to their performance earlier this week, as you mentioned, when they stood it up against the Mavericks, it looks definitely more structured around the goal ring. Then it was an early set, holding out holding out Giants' body, calling into space. So I'm loving what the connection, particularly into Wilkinson. I think it's looking much improved.
And a long feed into Harton, so Giants able to level up. They did have that first centre of the game as well. Beckford playing with Tignell. Again, been a really smart option out in front for the Fever.
So you see Fever setting up a press off that centre pass, so you can see the centres dropping back, all players jumping the line, trying to create something just like that.
And it was all the work there in the end from Wadawurrung. She gets the high five from Farron Williams, just effort.
And I love the reaction off the bench. You can see they celebrated that team success. Of course, big benches when you come to Ballarat Blitz, plus a lot of coaches, so a lot of cheering off the sideline.
It is great. There's a real opportunity for all the teams this weekend to showcase their training partners. We can see them on the bench there for the Fever. The Giants one still in warm-up at the moment, but could see some really exciting players, including Clara Wigley, who featured really strongly for Western Australia's 17s team at the National Netball Championships last year.
Yeah, a young girl out of Joondalup in WA, so if you're joining us from the West Coast, we are so stoked to have you. So big love to all the family at Curtin Hammersley Comets in the Western Australian Netball League, who no doubt are waiting to see young Clara get on the court.
Rush to go get the ball, even though we're barely halfway through the first quarter.
See, that's the wisdom of Jo Harton. Until her teammates can't get the ball in, just a flat option, probably the wrong one from Sligo.
And again, the experience there from Williams, just to know when to put the hand out, and beautiful smothering block from Sligo.
So that's the encouraging sign. If you turn the ball over, at least get hands to it, so a great deflection. And almost a great pickup.
O'Brien out of play. Wilkinson, we are playing with Super Netball rules, so there will be a timeout here the way of the Giants. And fair enough, considering Fever just seem to be the team that have been capitalising on their gains at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, Georgia. It's really pleasing when a team gets a tip to things, but they chase it up. And I think that's what the Fever defensive lineup in particular do really well. Of course, the Giants, they've had an up and down previous season, as you've mentioned, but they just need to keep showing that fight and making the right choices. I think we've seen a few circle entry attempts, particularly. Those feeds just haven't worked, so I'd like to see more patience onto circle edge and just a short, sharp delivery. Of course, it's nerve-wracking to come back on the court. You're trialling new combinations, playing in front of a crowd for the first time in a few months. So you really just want to be patient in delivery, especially in the first half of a first quarter.
Exactly that, Hannah. And well, interesting to see who is being spoken to by the respective coaches. It definitely does seem that attack end getting the extra wisdom from the assistant coach from the Giants, Rita Stewart. So again, exactly what you touched on there about what they need to vary up to get that ball into the post to a suitable position to go for accurate attempt at goal, because we know that they have the ability, both these teams, especially in the Giant shooting circle, to go for those super shots, but don't want to rely on it. You know, we saw last year the reliance on the super shot meant they were fighting for 10 minutes of the quarter and just waiting to shoot the lights out.
But aren't they super at shooting those super shots? Of course, we're a couple of minutes off that 5-minute mark, and that's when the super shot kicks in. So I think there's a little bit of work to do just to narrow that gap. But it's 3 goals. We're in the first term. Still so much netball to be played.
And beautiful work there from Jodie-Ann Ward, just able to get over the top of her Jamaican teammate. Really interesting battle between Shanice Beckford and Jodie-Ann Ward in that goal attack, goal defense position, because you've got 2 such dynamic players who will be running each other ragged throughout the game.
Yeah, well, that's the fun thing about playing against someone you know well. You know their tips and tricks, what they've got up their sleeve. So definitely a physical battle as we see a misconnection, G.
Well, both players running to the same space, but then neither player putting their hand up to demand the ball. Was it a chance of too much respect for their shooting compatriot, or was it just no one standing up in that moment to demand it?
I think just a miscommunication. Luckily, the backline are firing for the Giants. Hopefully against the one-on-one defence. We saw them struggle in that previous play to bring the ball down. Clever to use the overplay there, and Price working her way to circle edge as we spoke of before.
And Giants will take it just to their centre pass to follow. Fran Williams did not make it easy for Maddie Hay to get to that ball to pick it up.
Hey, not her job. She's got a player to worry about, cause some headaches when she can. Lovely to see the pressure off the centre pass in setting up a wall has been transitioned into a box. So players taking perimeter, trying to chew up space. Still work to Harden under post, but clever work defensively from Fever. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Picking up exactly from where they left off there. It's an incredibly hard team to play. Olivia Wilson.
Oh no, the turn of the head. Oh, that one hurts, Georgia.
Well, we've seen it so many times with Teague Neal already in this game, just wanting to play back and forth with her player, but just Wilkinson turned around, tried to take that drive into the ring, and unfortunately missed the ball going behind her.
But look, Teague Neal, she's making up for it here with the pressure off the back line. This is why it's hard for the Giants to get to circle edge. You watch their defenders float around Ariang here with arms over. Now watch her almost chew up that ball, but it'll be called back. Beautiful body positioning. That's the go. That's exactly what you're after.
It's forcing those long balls, and then considering the hops of the players on the court for the Fever, and Katie Haney has such incredible reach over to be able to almost come through cleanly and push away the ball. Well, Dwyer will put the ball up for Hart, and she'll rip it down.
Yeah, great reward for patience on that Giants. You can see Harton trying to marshal to the troops, keep it patient. Great setup off the centre pass to have a goal attack and wing attack working together off the line.
Well, Jamie Lee Price with a bounce pass, feed into Harden. And well, just like that, the Giants have retaken the lead.
That's all it takes. 23 seconds until the super shot, so that 2-point shot is activated. So nice to bring that margin back.
Wilkinson, well, finds Beckford. Strong hands. They'll even it up. We're about to hear that siren sound. Dwyer looks for the long bomb. Harden knows that the timer is about to go, and goes attempts for the first super shot of the tournament. It drops short.
And what an easy ball back in. That's hard for the Giants. Every player in the front line had overplayed and overcommitted, which meant that they were down in numbers in the back line. When you get a 2-on-1 like that around the post.
Really felt like a zone defense, but without actually taking dominance of the area around them. It just meant the Fever could just zip through quickly, long balls with minimal pressure overhead. Teague Neal, beautiful patience to find the right feed. Well, the Giants were up a second ago, and now they had the opportunity with a 2-point shot, and the Fever just capitalising on mistakes.
How good is pre-season netball? You just have surprise after surprise in store.
Jamie Price happy to go for the last option. Off balance, Dwyer, somehow Maddie Hay, beautiful take. And just the patience from Harton there to know exactly where her goal attack was going to drive.
Threading the needle on that ball. This is why she is one of the best in the world.
And it's why her skill set can translate so well over the length of her career, because it comes down to her game smarts. And that's something that she can carry throughout, especially considering the amount of injuries that she's carried in recent seasons.
No, she is. Her mind is just miles ahead. I was coached by Jo Harton in the State League out in New South Wales, suiting up for the Southwest Mounties Magic, and I was just blown away by how she sees the game so early. She was teaching some of our goalers, Papi Alatoa, of international acclaim, and she's saying, set up 3 passes earlier on the body, let the middies get the ball sweeping across, and then all you have to do is just simply open up, and she just makes the game look so easy from that goal shooter position.
It's interesting as well, she's studied politics, and you can see that, they're moving 3 steps ahead. It comes through in her netball play as well.
Everyone's playing netball out there. Jo Harton is playing chess.
Harden now in front of the post, again doesn't drop. It's 2 attempts from distance. Yet to see A sunk super shot. Well, Giants will keep a hold of the ball. Dwyer looking one way, then the other. Eventually just goes out wide. Simple, easy goal, and that's simple, easy netball.
Yeah, interesting. Fran Williams there was setting up to protect that 2-point space. You saw her set up maybe a metre off the line as though to concede the 1-point territory and say, I'm trying to prevent the 2 shot. So for Dwyer to nip in close, just be comfortable to take the one, even though her team is 3 goals down, I think speaks to the gameplay of the Giants, but that's a disappointing turnover.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Dwyer, just couldn't quite connect with any teammate, just misjudged the dodge and the drives. Well, Fever want to get things underway. Looking long, looking down the line, just peeling off slowly but surely each time. Beckford and Wilkinson, the connection's been strong, but just the hands there from Wilkinson. It's just set up so far back, and we'll have the first substitution of the game as well. Hope White has come into that wing attack position for the Giants. Phenomenal player who's come through the New South Wales ranks as well. He's playing for the Giants Australian Netball Championship team at just when she was still playing for the 17s New South Wales state team. A brilliant young talent for midcourt.
Yeah, it speaks to the strength of, I think, Netball New South Wales pathways and also the work done by the SSN level teams to be getting players into the environment early and give them opportunities such as this one to get on the court.
Hope White getting involved, that first centre pass, involved very heavily in this attack for the Giants, so very welcome entry into the game for her. Final minute of play left to go. The Fever out by 4. Wilkinson doing a lot of work in that second phase, coming out in support. He's driving backwards.
Yeah, Wilkinson not taking her feet through on that drive. It felt like she was unsure whether she wanted to sink a 2, whether she wants the 1, but I guess she wants the 2, Georgia.
We've got the fireworks happening on the court here. Olivia Wilkinson, of course, a Victorian talent, made the move, and well, with a full season in an SSN environment under her belt, with Aaron, just the landing onto Jamie Lee Price, went away into the circle, slow to get up, but she's still moving, and beautiful work there from Dehaney. Judged obstructed, but it looks very close.
You felt unlucky for the defender, but all very well timed, except Fever taking a centre pass with over 3 seconds. Oh, I kept an eye on that clock, G, and I'm not convinced it was under 3. Very lucky if they hold on to possession into the second quarter.
Well, we have, of course, 2 Super Netball umpires on this game, so I'm sure we'll find out as soon as we get back into it. But
and that's why I'm in the comms box and not wearing a white T-shirt.
Well, 4 goals of difference after the first 15 minutes of netball. West Coast Fever leading the way 18-14. It's been a really interesting tussle between these 2 teams. Of course, pre-season ironing out those kinks, but still great quality netball on display.
Absolutely. These athletes, they train all year round. We like to pretend that there's an off-season, but in reality, we know that there's not. Players are working hard individually over the Christmas period. They're training in groups, and of course, they're training with the team. So no doubt they're feeling ready to go, just ironing out those final kinks before the season gets underway.
Brilliant. Well, you're watching here at the Ballarat Blitz. We'll be right back after this quarter time break. Looks like some changes on the court and some big ones at that for the West Coast Fever while they're up by 4 at the quarter break. But of course, big one, of course, in that goal shooter position. Mike Mwenda suiting up in Victoria in Fever colours.
Yeah, it's such a different feeling. I'm sure for her and everyone watching, of course, it's a very dominant Vixens crowd here in Ballarat. So no doubt everyone is cheering MJ on, even though she's donning the green.
You can also see that Zoe Kransberg has come on into that centre position again, another Victorian coming on to the court for the Fever.
Yeah, she's been over in the West Coast with her twin sister Jordan, who you can see on the bench at the moment. She tweaked her ankle, that left ankle, on Wednesday night. So I dare say she's just taking a rest at the moment. It didn't appear to be a significant injury, but no doubt we'll hear more about it in coming days. So getting the twin on court, a proud moment for the Kransberg family back here in Melbourne.
Absolutely, of course. Well, they both played for so many years across Melbourne Uni Lightning in the Victorian Netball League, Melbourne Vixens training partners as well before Zoe made the move across, and then of course followed by Jordan. So opportunity now for the Fever to go up. Another goal. Teague Neal using the line well. Kamwenda out. Beckford just popping out of the circle slightly. Again, really holding that front space. O'Brien, long arms, and it makes no difference over Beckford. Well, that takes the Fever out to 5.
At this early stage of a second quarter, you just want to see the goalers work together and figure out their style. That delivery is an excellent ball into MJ, given that she has a different frame and a different playing style to Wilkinson. Wilkinson happy to come out of the circle, jump through the middle, and make the midcourt react off her. That was a lovely hold and even better delivery.
Well, the thing is about Olivia Wilkinson, she, well, saying a couple of years ago, preferred position is actually goal attack. So playing the goal shooter position, potentially restricting a bit of her movement and some of her skill set. But Kamwenda, her ability, even for her the hold and then the jump in, she was able to take that step in. Well, she's brilliant at it, and there's a reason, you know, why she's had so many accolades in the Super Netball over the years.
Absolutely, and given that she's coming back from pregnancy, there's a physical toll to that, obviously. Her coming back into a training environment and back into the SSN is so significant. So she's still got all that athleticism. It's just often when players come back from pregnancy, they talk about the timing, that everything feels a little bit different and your body pulls up differently to pre-pregnancy. So this is great to see her getting some minutes and fighting an almighty tussle under that post.
Well, low release in the end to Beckford. Well, it's good to see that they seem to be on song together, the two shooters for the Fever. And again, also it's just really adjusting to a new environment. Like you said, it's a whole lot of changes. And that ball from Kransberg had a rocket attached to it. Slager there to pick up the loose ball. Dwyer coming out, finds the cross-court ball to Price, punching through the middle is Hope White. And then Harton, while she's flirting with the line, wouldn't have counted as a two-point shot anyway, but bounces off the top.
Yeah, you wonder if the Giants are going to make a small change to the shooting selection that they're taking at the moment. The shots that Harton's going for are those long range, which she hasn't been dropping so far this match. So whether she plays more of a post role and gets Dwyer to take those long bombs, we'll see if they adjust to that.
Well, they do have two shooters on their bench, of course, Matisse Leatherbarrow, who's been involved with the club since 2019, and then also Millie Tompkins, a player who's come through their academy and a training partner as well. So two shooting options on the bench for the Giants if they choose to change it up, but we've seen plenty of times that Julie Fitzgerald loves her two main goalers. We saw it throughout most of last season as well. She's happy to stick with them in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's played under Julie would know she does love starting with her starting seven and sticking with them, showing that faith. Is that the tactic that they'll use in a pre-season tournament? Time will tell, but great to have depth if needed.
Well, Dwyer makes the shot, makes it only 5, the difference between the two. Just humming along in this second quarter, almost 5 minutes played. Haven't seen too many big opportunities for a break or a run by either side. Ward out of play, Kamwenda right into the post. Easy as you like it. Fred White out for the centre pass there for the swing ball again. She's got speed on the circle. Hit it hard and then put it up in the air for Harden. A lot of traffic coming her way defensively overhead.
Brave decision by White to give that ball. The screen was set up quite early. There was connection between the goalers, but whether that's the ball to go for, young Hope White, she'll figure that out.
There's a massive jump between the levels that she would have played up, of course, coming through in recent years, which is, you know, playing across the NNC, winning the gold medal as well in the 19s, playing what was the Australian Netball Championships 2 seasons ago, and now getting proper game time at this SSN level, of course, in the 10 this season. So it'll be interesting to see how she's able to adjust to the speed and the different level.
Of course, there is that adjustment in speed, Georgia, and there's also the adjustment in decision making. You're still making the same decisions. A wing attack is a wing attack at no matter what level of gameplay you're playing at. But it means you're under more pressure, under more fatigue, and we know how that plays with your brain. You're starting to make the wrong choices, but she'll figure that out again. It is such a long weekend, and no doubt she'll get plenty more opportunities with all of the netball on offer.
The ball from Beckford, well, it was inviting to both Emily Price and Sliger. Both end up out of play in the end. Beckford, and she's had a real starring role considering what she has to do in this team at the moment for the Fever. It seems like she's stepping up to the challenge quite well, being the leader in that circle, so to speak.
Yeah, the question is really out for Fever. Who is going to be the sheriff of that goal circle? Because it was simple before. You had a tall timber goal shooter. Simply the goal attack's role is almost to be like a wing attack. Get the ball into the circle, be the front sweeping option, but often the decoy. Now you see she's starting to take confidence in her own shot, and we know she's been inconsistent last year, of course, her big debut in the SSN, but now I'm really liking the development in maturity and confidence to put up the shots and let them drop.
Absolutely. White finds Dwyer, takes a step in again, really using both pockets. Dwyer, beautiful drag Dehaney out, then went straight to the post for the Giants. And well, keep staying that 5-goal buffer. It'll be interesting to see if it will take until, you know, teams start racking up the misses for, you know, a lead or a momentum swing to happen, but they've been consistent throughout the quarter, and a great defensive rebound there from O'Brien.
Well, there's the change in possession you just spoke about, Georgia. It just required one missed goal, but the fight for the defensive rebound is, oh no. It was an inviting offer when you see a goaler by themselves on the baseline waving their arms, but that's exactly what these defenders want you to think.
And again, it's, you know, Dehaney, she knew that stepping off the body would invite the pass, and considering her ability to get up in the air aerially to get those intercepts, was delivered on a platter for her.
And how good is a defensive masterclass from a goal attack? That is full court defensive. Oh no, I've just mozzed myself. Great work, but then to throw it away.
It's interesting to see, again, it's these little errors now creeping in. So is it potentially that they're feeling more accustomed and, you know, comfortable with one another, so they're like, okay, we can let that pass fly? Or is it just, again, getting used to the little cues and directions for knowing exactly where a player's going to run to?
Absolutely, and that's what we see just with the Giants pushing the ball into the wrong spot because of that timing, and that comes down to relationships which take time to build. That's why we have things like the Ballarat Blitz to get those cobwebs out at high pressure, but Sliger, she is putting on a masterclass.
I have absolutely loved the work that she's done, and of course it feels like she's been on the periphery of the Super Netball, had the contract last year, but she's fighting for more and more game time. Is probably the player that's benefited the most from Parmenta moving down to the Mavericks to have that opportunity in the New South Wales team.
It is so hard when there are only 7 positions on court, and especially if you're at a franchise with a coach who keeps all of that faith in the starting 7. You can spend a lot of time on the bench or as a training partner, as you've seen with so many of these players. So for Sliger to get the opportunity, man, she is making the most of it.
Well, it has been a brilliant opening first half-ish at the moment, of course. We've gone to a timeout. The Fever Looks like they'll be getting some words of advice from their coaches. But
For
we're
the
here
Giants, if
for
they
the
choose
Ballarat
to change
Blitz,
it up,
but
but
don't
we've seen
forget,
plenty of
Suncorp Super
times that-
Netball kicks off on Saturday, 5th of April. The Melbourne Vixens are heading to Adelaide to take on the Thunderbirds in a grand final rematch in round 1. And tickets for all Vixens home games at John Cain Arena are on sale now. Head to melbournevixens.com.au or Ticketek to book. Of course, we have the grand final rematch coming up right after this game as well. If you can't wait till round 1, just stick around. We'll be on air from 5 p.m. for that game as well.
Yeah, the stands are starting to pack out because I can tell you all the fans are around that Vixens merch stand, back of shot. We've got the Thunderbirds who are well and truly arriving. They've got a big match on their hands, but a big Vixens crowd down here, and we shouldn't be surprised. Their dominance in Victoria, particularly in regions such as Ballarat, we know they are heart and soul.
Absolutely, and a big thank you to the Ballarat City Council and Victorian Government for hosting these events. You know, we really do appreciate, and of course we know how beloved netball is in this region as well.
Well, with the grand final announced to be in Victoria, oh dear. It's very exciting times for netball in Victoria, but a dramatic start to to resuming play.
Yeah, well, a bit of a coach killer there, unfortunately, Hope White. But again, we have seen a bit of a switch in positions. Maddie Hay coming onto centre, Jamie Lee Price off to the bench. So again, teams more than happy to use these substitutions and these breaks and get those rotations on court. And well, Alice Tignell was all by herself in the 45, opened the space beautifully to feed right into Beckford.
Yeah, speaking of rotations, that was such a clever rotation round the circle. This is exactly what the Giants need to do now to open up Hart. And you see she's got a tight one-on-one physical contest.
Well, she wanted that ball to go into Dwyer, and well, there was no space for her. Only way was to push through Fran Williams. A contact called. Kransberg, Kamwenda out of the circle. Just see that she's adjusting with her footwork in terms of how physical this game is as well. There goes the siren. Beckford safely within the spot for the 1 though. And well, immediately a break there for the Giants. So we barely had a goal in that time between timeouts. Fever, of course, calling the last one. Giants, well, Joe Harden going immediately to assistant coach and having some conversation. Will she be coming off? Will there be swapping? What do you think is being talked about here, Hannah?
Yeah, I think this must have been a premeditated timeout. They knew as soon as they hit 5 minutes to go, of course, Super Shot comes into play. Maybe it was in the game plan all along to have this chat. It is unusual, though, considering that the Fever literally just called for a timeout. So not sure what extra instructions the teams would want to get across. But again, we see Giants previously, they broke off into their huddles again. Looks like the attackers are having one conversation, the defenders having one. It's the same story at the Fever, albeit more often than not having a full group discussion as they come back together now after having their attackers and defenders have separate chats.
Well, can't help but think that potentially it's also mental games within the physical game of netball, because about how when you're planning your timeouts as well, potentially, you know, can this throw off the Fever off their rhythm coming out of that talk? Is it just reinforcing? Well, there's a lot of things with, you know, we spoke about Joe Harton playing chess on the netball court. Is this another game of chess that we're witnessing? So,
wouldn't we like to know? Both teams have returned to the court before the timeout has even elapsed, which is kind of amusing, especially for the Giants. Still time in that timeout. They're already having their high fives back on court.
Kransberg to get us back underway. Williams looking for around through the middle. Is Kamwenda. Short little pass with Tignell. Kamwenda from distance will go for the super shot. And the Victorian crowd, well, they still love her, regardless of what colour dress that she's in. So big round of applause here in Ballarat.
How could you not? Starting the Power 5 with a 2-pointer like that certainly gets you up and about, Georgia.
Hope White with the rocket overhead. The offside call against Ariang. Dwyer quick on the move, tries to feed it out on the 45. Well, it does look here that the Giants really want to go for that 2-point shot. Harden had a look around and looked at post, took the step in the end goes for the 1. So it does seem like the philosophy and, well, potentially what they're being coached to do here is to really go for those twos. There is an 8-goal difference between the two sides at the moment.
And this is before half time. You don't want to go into the main break with an 8-goal deficit. Hence why you see Harton doing so much work to look around, get that prime position. But credit to the Fever defenders. They know that that is the Giants' bread and butter. They're preventing that 2-point shot.
Well, and the Fever, they are looking good on the 2-point as well. That was a beautiful release from Beckford straight through the net. Beautiful work there from Williams. Tigner will have to do well to keep that in the centre third. Beckford opting to slow it down, to go to the safer option than putting it into a dangerous spot, and they go back to back with the super shots. Oh, and that's a 12-goal lead for the Fever. 3 minutes 15 left to play in this opening half.
I love the confidence of that pass, but also the shot selection of Kwenda. She knows exactly where the space is, that time finding the space at the baseline, but she has the confidence to put up these 2-pointers. It really feels like she hasn't missed a single beat.
It really has, and it's beautiful to witness, is it not? Just to have her back here and watching her play. She's really found her groove in this game. Sligo just waiting for that ball to bounce ever so slowly towards her. White deep in the pocket. Tries to find the hard ball, but again, it's a really difficult pass to pull off when you have Dehaney, who read the flight of the ball. Oh, that was beautiful defensive work. Again, it's been the story of this game, what the Fever have been able to do defensively, smothering, congesting the space, being able to pick off the balls at the right time. We spoke for how much of this quarter it was just going goal for goal. There really wasn't many opportunities for either team to try and build upon it, to try and win the quarter, but now it's down to 14.
Having said that, I don't know if we can give Fever defence all of the praise. When the heat's been turned up in the kitchen, Georgia, it doesn't look like the Giants' front line are responding on that pass. Before, Harton was retreating when she needed to go forward and snap that ball in. That last lob, Harton going short on the ball and handing it straight to the Fever defenders, who are just simply luckily in the right position. So we'll see how the Giants respond under circumstances. 15 goals now, it's got to hurt.
Absolutely, you can see the Giants bench. Well, oh, beautiful vision there from White into Harton by herself. They go for the one, but all the Giants bench players wearing their T-shirts. Doesn't look like there's any sort of rush for anyone to be coming on court anytime soon. So it looks like we'll have to be waiting a while. Definitely won't see anyone until the back part of this half.
Nor do you see a lot of energy, and at this point in the season, you want to rally. You can't lose your head now, because I tell you what, those 14 rounds will feel like an eternity.
Kwenda chasing after that rebound. And she was always near the top of those offensive rebound stats at her time in the league. Beckford just couldn't execute the pass straight into the hands of O'Brien.
O'Brien doing a great job with her timing and positioning, but speak about timing and positioning, doesn't get it better than that by Dehaney. With a solo player at the baseline, you hope that Kwenda would change her face, put it around the other way. She was looking too down the court to realise she had a solo goaler under post.
But also just considering what had happened to Beckford down the other end, and potentially just trying to draw the player out and try and keep the player on the pass to make the space open up, potentially trying to use those triangles. Again, the long ball over the top. We've seen it now twice. But again, the Giants, they want to go for the 2-pointer. Harden with seconds remaining. It doesn't drop. Well, there was a penalty outside the ring, but at halftime, it is all the West Coast Fever. They have been humming in every part of the court, the Giants. Well, it's their attack that has potentially not been firing in the way they needed to be consistent at this level. But it's been a really entertaining game so far, Hannah.
Well, we're halfway through this match, so the good news is there's another half to go. And if you can get down by 15, then mathematically there should be no reason why in another 30 minutes we can't see a different result. But it's going to take a whole lot of work and a whole lot of turnovers from the Giants side. Credit to O'Brien for getting a lot of deflections, but you need to turn them into gains. And just looks like the momentum is well and truly with the Fever.
Well, we will be heading to a break, but after the break we will be talking to Jacinta Todd, the Victorian 17 under head coach. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.
At every turn, in every moment, Ballarat is never what you expect. Welcome to Ballarat, always brilliantly unexpected.
Hey, it's Kate, Sophie and Joe here from the Melbourne Vixens. We've hit the road thanks to the City of Ballarat.
Our first stop is Black Cat Truffles. We're going to see what we can find with some help from some four-legged friends. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey Liam, how's it going?
Hi, welcome to Black Cat. How are you?
Black Cat Truffles is a truffle farm, restaurant and boutique event venue located just outside of Ballarat. Visitors to the farm can experience a truffle hunt, guided by expert handlers and their truffle hunting companions.
Girl, smile for the camera. As long as I'm getting pats.
So we've got some assistance from the puppies here. How will we know if they've found anything?
So basically the dogs will alert me to a truffle, they'll sniff around, and then they'll alert me by digging in the soil. What's here? What's this?
Oh, it looks like Hugo's found something. Well done, Hugo. Applause for the dog. Oh, you can hear
Just
it.
there, there's a truffle.
Good girl.
Really mushroomy, really earthy. We supply some really great restaurants in Melbourne.
Got some goods from Liam's hard work here, and I think Kate, Sophie and I are really interested in trying some of this relaxed elegance in terms of service you were talking about.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Let's head back to the restaurant and we'll sort some food out for you.
sounds good. In Black Cat's restaurant, Liam Downs, an award-winning chef, has a farm-to-table philosophy, serving up fine dining experiences using quality local produce.
Sophie always claps her food when she gets excited.
If you're sitting out there eating, you could feel like you're anywhere in the world, so we try to make people feel happy and welcome.
Well, that was amazing. I don't know how we're going to top that, but I think we need a carb load for training tomorrow. Let's go get some lunch. Thank you very much.
We are here at Carboni's Italian Kitchen. We're lucky enough to be getting a masterclass from the chefs today. Let's go. Ooh, this is cool. This is so fun, look.
Carboni's Italian Kitchen is a deli and restaurant and a Ballarat institution. The restaurant offers an authentic Italian dining experience, and Carboni's is also famous for its cooking classes.
Fresh pasta, is that what we might be making today?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, I think we should give it a crack.
In front of you, each of you has a bowl with flour and semolina, and we're gonna make a pasta dough.
Well done, Joe. How are you going over there?
I'm making it happen. It's pressure next to the professional chef next to me, but that's okay. I work well under pressure. Sophie, it's not a competition. Wow. Sophie, that is really incredibly impressive.
Which is very good for hand roll.
Hear that, Joe? Perfect.
That pasta or is that short crust pastry?
I'm happy with that.
We definitely should probably try some cooked pasta.
At Carboni's next door, visitors can grab a coffee, panini or pastry, or stock the pantry with a selection of fresh pastas and antipasti. I don't know about you girls, but I'm so full. That was delicious. I've been given some good recommendations for the vintage market. Should we go check them out?
Let's go check it out.
Do it.
Woo! All right, girls, we're at the Ballarat Vintage and Collectibles Market. Should we go have a look what's inside?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Woo!
I know, I actually think we should get some little treats for the drive home. The Ballarat Vintage and Collectibles Market is located inside the Great Southern Wool Shed.
Ooh!
With over 80 stalls, the market is the go-to destination for visitors searching for rare and unique items.
Oh my god! No way.
What have you found?
That's a bargain. Oh my god! Did we plant this?
Coast to coast. And it's that popular, it has to have a security tag on it.
That's so funny.
Put it right front and centre. Whether you're looking for vintage, retro, collectibles, antiques or furniture, or just looking for somewhere to browse, the market has something for everyone. Joe. That was better than I thought. I think these ones.
Same.
Time to make our purchases. That's our third and final stop for the day. Soph's got her purchases. There is so much to do in the region. Make sure you head to visitballarat.com.au to plan your next trip. See ya.
At every turn, in every moment, Ballarat is never what you expect. Welcome to Ballarat, always brilliantly unexpected.
Hey, it's Kate, Sophie and Joe here from the Melbourne Vixens. We've hit the road thanks to the City of Ballarat.
Our first stop is Black Cat Truffles. We're going to see what we can find with some help from some four-legged friends. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey Liam, how's it going?
Hi, welcome to Black Cat. How are you?
Black Cat Truffles is a truffle farm, restaurant and boutique event venue located just outside of Ballarat. Visitors to the farm can experience a truffle hunt, guided by expert handlers and their truffle hunting companions.
Girl, smile for the camera. As long as I'm getting pats.
So we've got some assistance from the puppies here. How will we know if they've found anything?
So basically the dogs will alert me to a truffle, they'll sniff around, and then they'll alert me by digging in the soil. What's here? What's this?
Oh, it looks like Hugo's found something. Well done, Hugo. Applause for the dog. Oh, you can hear
Just
it.
there, there's a truffle.
Good job.
Really mushroomy, really earthy. We supply some really great restaurants in Melbourne.
Got some goods from Liam's hard work here, and I think Kate, Sophie and I are really interested in trying some of this relaxed elegance in terms of service you were talking about.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Let's head back to the restaurant and we'll sort some food out for you.
sounds good. In Black Cat's restaurant, Liam Downs, an award-winning chef, has a farm-to-table philosophy, serving up fine dining experiences using quality local produce.
Sophie always claps her food when she gets excited.
If you're sitting out there eating, you could feel like you're anywhere in the world, so we try to make people feel happy and welcome.
Well, that was amazing. I don't know how we're going to top that, but I think we need a carb load for training tomorrow. Let's go get some lunch. Thank you very much.
We are here at Carboni's Italian Kitchen. We're lucky enough to be getting a masterclass from the chefs today. Let's go. Ooh, this is cool. This is so fun, look.
Carboni's Italian Kitchen is a deli and restaurant and a Ballarat institution. The restaurant offers an authentic Italian dining experience, and Carboni's is also famous for its cooking classes.
Fresh pasta, is that what we might be making today?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, I think we should give it a crack.
In front of you, each of you has a bowl with flour and semolina, and we're gonna make a pasta dough.
Well done, Joe. How are you going over there?
I'm making it happen. That's pressure next to the professional chef next to me, but that's okay. I work well under pressure. Sophie, it's not a competition. Wow.
Waiting for the thumbs up. It's all right. Well, as part of Netball Victoria's partnership with the City of Ballarat, we're coming to Selkirk Stadium for the Victorian Netball League doubleheader in July, and so now we're joined by the coach of three-time VNL Championship premiers, City West Falcons, Jacinta Todd. Jacinta, particularly coming from a regional area like yourself, why is it so important to bring elite and pre-elite netball to regions like Ballarat?
Well, you just have a look at the crowd that's actually here today, and it's just so exciting for regional people to have an event like this come. To get these events, you often have to travel down to Melbourne, so to have them come to you is just amazing for all those young girls and boys out there to come and watch this elite level. I'm sure there are girls and boys out there that will hail from Ballarat and down the track make these state teams and hopefully an elite side. So it's so great to see this happening and seeing it go all around Victoria in particular.
Well, you cannot be what you can't see, and so it's a beautiful come out to these regions, so strong in the netball heritage as well. And well, you've had a couple of key changes to your list this season, including bringing in New Zealand defender Charity Nazaleo. Tell us a bit about your off-season recruitment and what we can expect from the Falcons in 2025.
Well, there wasn't a huge, downtime to celebrate the last grand final win, so we had to get straight into recruitment straight away. So it was a lot of conversations with our current squad, and look, we've retained majority of our squad that are coming back this year, which is great. We've had a few little additions. It's really good to see Maddie Romios come back after having her first child, as well as obviously introducing Charity into our squad. So a newcomer, but also a fresh face back to our team. And then I guess for our 23s, we retain a number of players again, but we also include a few new ones in there, some young ones, some exciting ones, and I think we're shaped to have a really good season.
I mean, I feel like you put yourself into the best position possible. When it comes to thinking about success in the Victorian Netball League, it's pretty much synonymous with City West Falcons. And, you know, you spoke about having minimal downtime to really celebrate those wins, but how do you think it, you know, builds into the club culture, this history of success? Is that just a key facet of City West?
100%. We go into every year, we think about, last year and go, yep, that was wonderful. And then we go into the next year going, well, how can we do better? How can we challenge ourselves? And it's always tough. It's never easy. Some people looking from the outside in might feel like it is easy, that we have gone back to back to back, but it's been a lot of hard work, and the athletes are the ones that rise to those challenges, that actually set those challenges, and us as coaches just push them to exceed and meet those challenges.
Absolutely, and it's great to see, you know, names like Sophie Hanrahan, who was the joint MVP of the championship division as well, building off success from the club, you know, going from Division 1, playing at the ANC and winning it with the Magpies, and now, of course, championship winner in the VNL, and also MVP for the league. So, you know, it's been great to see the progression of some of these players come through the ranks of the club in recent years.
And I guess for Sophie too, when we talk about bringing events to regional areas, she hails from a regional area. She travels 3.5 hours to come to trainings, to games, and what she does behind the scenes is absolutely amazing, and it's credit to her and obviously the environment that's around her.
Brilliant. Well, you're also the head coach of the Victorian 17 under team. And how are the preparations going as we move towards the National Netball Championships, which have just been announced as being hosted in Sydney in April?
We are just past our halfway point of our preparation. I was just counting before with some of the girls down there that we have 7 sessions left. It's about 5 weeks to go until we actually get to Nationals. The girls have been working really, really hard. I think what's really helped is they've been in a program called Elevate that has really built on those basics and put them under that pressure, and then they've come into this environment where they've already established those relationships. They're already working hard, and it's on us now as a coaching group to really push and prep them a little bit further as we get or as we approach Nationals. And they're looking good, and they're really exciting, and they're a vibrant bunch. They're very energetic. They do push each other. They make it fun as well, and we're really looking forward to our Nationals campaign.
I mean, you had great success last year with getting the bronze medal in that 17 under division as well. How many players have been kept on from that team? Well, obviously with age-based restrictions, but are there a lot of familiar faces for those who watched the National Netball Champs last season?
We have 4 girls that are returning from last year's 17s team into this year's 17s, and there are a few girls that have stepped up into the 19 and under team. So to see that and the progression of what the program's provided is great. So those 4 girls in particular in the 17s are really challenging the ones that have entered into that environment, and we're really excited to see what they can achieve.
I mean, it is exciting now to consider that Olivia Wilkinson, who's currently on court for the Fever, was playing for the Victorian 19s at the National Netball Championships only 2 years ago, if my maths is correct. Now here she is playing, you know, goal shooter for the West Coast Fever. The pathway in is in action, and we know Victorian talent is abundant across the league.
Absolutely. There's a number of Victorian athletes that have come through our state programs that are now featuring in SSN teams. Like, you can talk about Olivia, but, you know, Alice Teague-Neild is another one. You've got a Kransberg, Zoe out there that has also featured in Victorian state teams before. So there's heaps out there. So it's really, really exciting, and we're really proud of what we've been able to do with those athletes.
I think I did the maths last season. The Giants are the only team without a Victorian on the list. So, you know, Victorian talent is everywhere the eye can see, more or less. But thank you so much, Jacinda, for joining us. Of course, the Victorian Netball League, not long now. It kicks off Wednesday, 12th of March. City West Falcons will go back to their title defence. Be looking forward to connecting with you throughout the VNL season as well.
Thank you.
Well, that was a quick start way to open up that third quarter. Fever pretty much finishing where they left off. Of course, those changes. Commander heading to the bench with Olivia Wilkinson back on the court. Hope White in that wing attack position, looking to use the transverse line. Maddie Hay now wing defence. Aryang, who's moved into goalkeeper, going flying across the court. So I can also see that Caitlin Brown has gone into wing defence for the Fever, of course, a Jill McIntosh medalist, made the team of the season, was the players' player in the Western Australian Netball League as well. So player who's really done the hard yards over across in the West and now being rewarded with the Fever.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see how strong, again, these pathways. You spoke about the strength of pathways with Jacinta, and it's great to see another Western Australian getting an opportunity in the green dress.
Absolutely. Antis finds Kransberg. Beautiful ball into Wilkinson. Well, again, just peppering away. 14 goals the difference. Harton, of course, now in that goal attack position. Matisse Leatherbarrow in goal shooter for the Giants as well. Really burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old in the old Australian Netball League. Was an exciting player.
Absolutely. She's getting more and more opportunity at SSM, which we love to see. Really interesting to see that change made at halftime. No doubt the Giants players would be ringing after being down by 15 at halftime. That's not the way they want to start their campaign. Of course, 3 wins in the SSN season last year, so they sure want to get off to a better start in 2025.
Well, right, looking for the option again.
Interesting to see the one-on-one battles here. Of course, nice to be gifted a defender out of play and an easier shot, although commentators curse, not easy at all. But both players playing the isolated one-on-one game, trying to nullify their defender with that clever body work.
Beckford using Antis. Wilkinson, beautiful, draws the defender away, opens up the space, and this foot race, that was clearly won by Beckford. They're really looking to go well above that, so-called goal per 60 minute mark, but it's pretty much that minute per goal is redundant in the super shot era as well. Williams doing well to just stay in the court.
Yeah, interesting here, Georgia, the defence, when you get a baseline throw-in, or goal line throw-in, I should say, Fever have been pushed against the sideline, but they look comfortable there. And I think that speaks to a team with strong scenario work, where they know how to get the ball to post, doesn't matter where they're being pushed. So a lot of confident netball from the Fever, and honestly, why wouldn't you be when you're up by 15?
Sliger out of play. Kransberg looking to feed through, just goes the short option, then goes long over the top to Wilkinson. She'll actually have to take the step back. Up first for the rebound. Makes no mistake the second time. So it's just ticking along well here. Harden looking for White to play it between the two of them. Sliger was just camping out in that 45. She's made that move into center as well.
And that is a beautiful setup from the Giants goalers. You could see Harton didn't even have her eyes on the ball. She just wanted to take out a body and open up that baseline drive. It makes the decision-making process very easy for the midcourt because there's such a clear option and it's so easy on the baseline.
Well, Antis looking for the tall timbers of Olivia Wilkinson. She's definitely the taller player in the ring at the moment. Antis would have had so many years of experience feeding into Fallon Emmard, so just trying to make sure the placement of that ball is brought down to an appropriate height for Wilkinson. Ariang in that goalkeeper position now. You can see the way she's trying to really cover the body.
Oh, very close of Ariang to almost get a hand to things. She did such a good job earlier this week when Fever played against the Mavericks in another practice match of being the spark in defence. We often question who's going to be that player who steps up, who finds ball, particularly defensively when a team needs it. I mean, Ward tries her best down the other end to be that change you want to see, but I love the work that Ariang's doing in getting hands to ball.
Every time that Hope White gets the ball, you can see that she's doing those little quick pivots to try and figure out where to open her body in the space too. And again, a great win there for Ariang. But it is curious to see with the defensive changes. Hopefully this season we'll see the two sisters together in the circle defensively for the Fever. It's been a long time coming for the younger And Ruth Arian coming off that ACL injury that she picked up in the 2022 National Netball Championships, but now finally getting her opportunity at Super Netball level. Only the 2 matches in 27 minutes last season, but a fully contracted member of the 10 this season.
We might even see 2 sets of sisters for the Fever. Of course, the Kranzberg twins in the midcourt, some defenders in the back. How about that for a sister act? 4 of 7 players.
It does make it easier to call. You really only have to learn a couple of names, but of course it does mean you have to change up the way that you refer to the players. And beautiful work there again from Ruth Ariang. She's really done oh so well. Moved into goalkeeper, building into this position, looking alive and firing, and not to be outdone. O'Brien down the other end. Well, you can't look away defensively. The teams are stepping up in this third quarter.
It's funny how momentum changes so subtly in netball. You feel the Giants starting to move. Still, of course, that 15-goal margin. But somehow looking more inspired. And after that kind of shot, there's a bit of energy about this Giants outfit.
Well, we know that, scores and leads and margins, they can be chipped away. Just needs to put the right emphasis on the pass, like that long feed in. Using the height of Leatherbarrow, just really trying to put it out of court, out of reach of Ariang. Well, there has been that change as well for the Fever. Sloane Burton coming on to that goal attack position, of course, played for Team Bath in the Netball Super League over in the UK. Had previously played for the Fever reserves in ANC in 2023. Of course, her mother was a netballer with the Perth Orioles. Her father was an AFL player as well. So, someone who's come through the ranks, has playing an elite level in her blood, now coming on to the Fever, for the Fever this afternoon.
And it is so special, no doubt. Mum Jules, Dad Matt would be really excited to see their daughter forging her own history. I mean, we can speak of how instrumental Jules has been, not only to the Orioles, as you mentioned, but to WA Netball, often helping out with coaching and things like that. But now it's daughter Sloane's turn to make her own memories in the green dress.
Absolutely. Well, she played 14 games last season across in the Super League there. Shot at 84% accuracy, of course, playing this goal attack position now for the Fever. It'll be interesting because sometimes I do feel like the work that she does along the baseline, she's right, well suited to being in a goal shooter position as well. But you've got 2 quite reasonably tall moving players in the circle now for the Fever.
Yeah, Sloane is really athletic. She's super fit. I've played up against her, with her, trained with her through the WA pathway, and I can tell you she's a hard worker and a clever player. So look for her to take those drives, to be strong through her body, play tall when she needs to, but also athletically and move if she needs to.
Of course, another timeout here, this time for the Giants, and we've spoken as well that tickets for all Melbourne Vixens home games are available right now. Of course, all the home games at John Cain Arena. Head to melbournevixens.com.au or Ticketek to book. 14 goals difference, 7 minutes to play in this third quarter. It's gone by in the blink of an eye. Sliger looking for Harton. Ken White almost at the 45, waiting for that baseline drive. Leatherbarrow, beautiful arc on the shot. That's something, that's been trademark and consistent with Matisse Leatherbarrow, is that beautiful high arc on release. Burton doing well to almost intercept the pass for her team to keep it in Fever possession.
And this is the dynamic work of Burton that we've spoken about. She gets rewarded for her footwork out the front. You could see the back option in Wilkinson. She was holding and wanting a high ball despite having 2 plays. She was in a giant sandwich. Meanwhile, Burton out the front, she can do the work, and great for her to get a reward, her first goal of the day.
And also, young wing defence Clara Wigley has come onto the court as well for the Fever. So, opportunity now, almost a full bench of changes. Can see, yes, in fact, it's been the full bench for the Fever now on court. So, opportunity beckons for the young player from Western Australia. Well, White did very well there to make sure that wasn't a replay ball, protected the space for a teammate to come pick it up.
Very hopeful hope it worked out in the end.
So Brown now into goal defence for the Fever. Lots of wholesale changes there. So really young back 3 for West Coast at the moment.
I don't think that matters. Obviously, the score, very comfortable when you've got a 12-goal lead this deep into the match. No doubt Coach Dan Ryan is seeing this as an opportunity to give those players who've travelled from Perth all the way to Ballarat for this. So it's a long trek. You want to reward those girls and get as many minutes into as many players as you can.
Leatherbarrow. Oh, beautiful rebound just on the fingertips for Joe Harden. Well, there goes the siren for the super shot. You can see Katie Ann Dehaney moving into the substitution box, having some words with Coach Dan Ryan. Maddie Hay picking up an important win there.
Great reward for effort. Her body-on-body work deep in that pocket means the pass has to be pinpoint. Wasn't in that moment. So sometimes in netball, it's not about getting the intercept, but if you can force that change in possession, geez, it feels just as good.
And an overhead rocket pass from White into Leatherbarrow. But I think as well, you know, the little high five there between O'Brien and Hay. But interesting seeing, you know, Hay has played wing attack and wing defence in this game. Hasn't, and centre as well, playing across all three of those mid-court positions. But it's really been showcasing her talents. The fact that she knows all three positions so well, but also the fact that she's really pushing her wing attack into positions she knows are unsuitable for a wing attack.
It is really hard to disrupt the Fever, and you've got to look at what do you have in the kit bag, what can you do? It's a great show of confidence in a coach to Maddie Hay to say, I trust you that you can be the fire starter wherever we put you. So a great win for Maddie Hay. I think you can reflect on those three different positions as being a show of faith.
100%. You see Katie Ann Dehaney now coming back on. Ruth Ariang, who is stint at goalkeeper, over for the moment. On the back end, well, again, Giants, they've reduced the deficit down to 9. And that's a win there for the young Wiggly. She gets a high five from her captain for her efforts.
This is why pre-season netball is so exciting. I don't know how much netball we'll see of Clara Wigley, but these are the highlights reel moments, and they're coming on the 1st of March.
Well, Fever felt like they were flirting with that half-ton mark for quite some time. They finally hit 50. Giants doing well to just slow down the flow. Leatherbarrow really wanted to receive that ball in the 2-point zone. Bounces off. Couldn't quite get both hands solid on the ball. Harton just takes the ball off her. Knowing that the penalty was set in the 1. Moves the ball around now. Leatherbarrow from distance. Again, Harton. Both defenders immediately tracking back to try and prevent another attempt at the super shot.
Doesn't that make you chuckle, Georgia? From a 15-goal margin nearly 13 minutes ago, now to 9. You've got to laugh at the fact that Fever know that the Giants have momentum. They want to surge forward via those 2-point shots, but the wisdom of Harton says, we'll just take the 1.
I think it was really early when the super shot first got announced. I think Jiva Mentor was on record saying how different and difficult it was going to be with trying to defend that 2-point zone rather than the 1-point zone in these moments, because it's the opposite of what defenders practice for their whole lives leading up to it. So, you know, this is super netball and the differences in this gameplay at this level.
That's why it's the best league in the world there, Georgia, because there is such a dynamic element when you factor that 2-point shot in. Defenders' lives were already hard enough. We've just made it harder.
Great take there from Kranzberg. Left defenders in her wake. It's a big round of applause from the Fever bench. 12 now the margin. They've slowly built back into their lead. Just a minute 15 left to go in this third term.
Lovely double play backward from Hope. She knew she could fake out, and that delivery round the body, round the side.
And again, a strong baseline drive, goal line drive from Leatherbarrow again. So would you say that the Giants have felt a bit more settled in attack in this quarter compared to the previous quarters, or is it just the little changes here and then, or is it just the different focal point with the changes in the ring?
I think it's a continual build for the Giants. They've needed wins because they just had too many things going wrong in that previous quarter. Now they've sharpened up. There are more connections, and you see even a riskier ball like that bounce pass. It's worked out, and then suddenly you can convert it into scoreline pressure. That builds momentum. That builds courage.
Absolutely. 22 seconds to go. Their centre pass, wide out for the centre pass receive. And came off awkwardly off the fingertips. Again, the confusion there. Sligo didn't quite understand whether that ball was for her or for Harton, and it just sailed over the sideline instead. Kranzberg, well, that's the basketball background on display, swings it in. And right, well, it's a whistle beater there for Wilkinson. And, well, it's much of the story of the game so far. Fever, comprehensive at both ends. Giants, a strong quarter from them, would you say?
Improved, and definitely they have a few minutes where they've got momentum, then they take the foot off the pedal, then they go again. So it's like driving inconsistently on a freeway when you're behind that car and they look to be surging, then they pull back. You go, what's the game plan here, Giants? But they still have enough time, and you see a really impassioned coach, Julie, rallying the troops. So they'd still have plenty in the tank. It's not unachievable, this margin, with 15 to go.
Well, you are listening to us live here from Selkirk Stadium. We'll be back for the final quarter very shortly.
All right, straight quarter time. We've got a signed Melbourne Vixens netball to give away to one lucky person. If you'd like to win, you need to just be standing up. So, what we're doing, it doesn't come down to cheering. It's a really weird thing. So, we're going to have a lucky seat draw. So if you're on this side, you can't win. Well, you know, we're going to look for a time people from this side, and we're trying to get there. You guys have all got the best seats in the house, so you guys can really care what we're doing. Someone on this side's going to win! All right, so someone over here is going to win. I really like the people who are sitting down saying I don't really care. So, what we're going to do, if you are in this section, you get to sit down, which is awesome. Which is a bit awesome. But yeah, you're in that section, yeah, you make it. I mean, stay standing, but you probably won't win. That also goes for both the end sections, because someone's going to win from right here. Look behind you at your seat number. If you're in seat number 22, stay standing up. Yeah, there should be like a vertical line that goes up. If, you know, whoever installed the seats did a good job. All right, so someone, that's very good by you, sir. But instead of me
by the Fever. Captain Jess answers to get us back underway. Teagnell back on court and wing attack. Goes to the centre pass receive. Kamwenda back on and goal shooter now as well. So Olivia Wilkinson in goal attack. It's a bit of a difference in that shooting circle. Teagnell puts the ball up for Kamwenda. She takes the step in. It's the first goal. Very simple for the Fever.
And I guess one of the fun things about pre-season netball is that the coaching staff are going to throw in a lot of changes, and you've just talked us through some of them with Fever, Georgia, and it's clever that Dan Ryan is saying, I'm putting the challenge to you goalers. You're going to have to figure out each other throughout the year, and there's no better way to do it than in pre-season netball. It's hard work to deal with so many different combinations, but there's only one way to do it. It just is exposure. So no better time to do it than in the Ballarat Blitz.
Absolutely, and of course, you know, Team Girl Cup next week, 2 weekends time as well, and just not long at all until the 5th of April when the season gets back underway. Wilkinson. Well, Wilkinson, of course, was a training partner for the Magpies in their final season, so wouldn't have really had any overlap with Kamwenda at the Vixens, and Teague Neal left for the Magpies the season that Kamwenda came to the Vixens. So again, despite all three of them having played in Victoria for quite some time, it wouldn't. A beautiful intercept from the defensive throw-in from White. But those three have all come through the Victorian ranks at different times. Now playing for the Fever. A little bit of a fake shot delivery from Harton to Leatherbarrow.
She has all the tricks, and you can't ever take your foot off the pedal because you know she's a threat at long range, or she'll do something sneaky like a pass that looks like a shot.
Ball over the top. Kamwenda has a look at posts and then demands it back. Wilkinson was demanding it with her back arm, but again, that front work there from Kamwenda.
You see the confidence growing for Kamwenda. She's pulling in those balls when previously, a couple of days ago, she still looked ginger, but the pace, she's adjusting to it beautifully. She's adjusting to that physicality. Even though O'Brien is chomping with her arms, trying to get deflections in the way, that strength of the Fever front line is growing by the minute.
Absolutely, almost the full Vixens just sailing over the head of Wilkinson. The full Vixens team just hiding out the back towards the end that the Giants are shooting at the moment. So they're having a good look at their opponents for tomorrow and, of course, leading into this season as well.
That's the beauty of pre-season netty. When you've got a bit of time, double headers, you can have a look at what lies ahead. You have to wonder how the Vixens will be feeling ahead of their grand final rematch, but, of course, taking on lots of netball over the next few weeks, of course. Tomorrow at play and TGC, as you mentioned, Georgia, right around the corner.
Absolutely. The Giants take it back down to 10. Already scored 4 goals in the 4th. Harton looking for the long option. Such a strong delivery into the ring.
Great delivery, but you have to wonder for Dehaney, she was half a step off pulling in what should have been a really easy intercept if she had her body in the right position. So she looked over to the bench for some reassuring words after missing that one. Whether she floats further off the body to attack the line of ball early. We see she actually goes to the goal attack in Harton and a switch, calling Ariane back to play goal defence on goal shooter. Interesting combinations.
Really curious to see what happens here in terms of will Harton choose to then stay out of the ring, let Leatherbarrow do all the work near the post like we saw just then.
I think we've got the answer to that one, Georgia. That is exactly what they do.
Ariane helping out through the centre pass. Teague Neal collecting every second ball. Always an option there. And Maddie Hay again just trying to slap it over the top of Ansys. Gets pulled for the contact.
She is so great in that pocket at providing the one-on-one contest. Yes, she might be called out of play, but it puts enough doubt into not only her direct opponent in Anstis's mind of, there's going to be some strong body onto this, I better pull it in, but also doubt into the passer of, will I be able to get to it? But speaking of getting to it, Ariang with the outside arm, so clean.
So clean. It's just trademark defensive work. Unfortunately, a footwork call against Teague Neal. He's on the move. Well, the beautiful build-up from the defence, unfortunately negated, but again, Ariane comes through! Well, it took something special for Maddie Hay to just pluck it from the air, but again, we've seen her play wing defence, goalkeeper, now goal defence. Yeah, offside was the call there, so again, what we saw from the Giants, they really built into their attack line. It was humming along well in the third quarter. Well, Fever have stepped up defensively now and really putting that, again, Jodie Ann Ward, she slapped it into the post. It hit her straight back in the face. Unfortunately, no reward for her defensive efforts.
Champion Data always working on the stats off court. You wonder if the headbutt count might be coming in 2025.
We can only hope and pray that we're going to get a Falcon count eventually in Super Netball. Of course, there was a member of the netball social media community who would always count the amount of times that Maddie Proud used to hit the deck in Super Netball games in seasons gone past. So maybe we need to put the onus back on asking our fans if they can keep track of these numbers throughout the season.
If there is a floor count, I dare say the Giants will be nervous. Jamie Lee Price, I think she'd lead that one for sure.
Well, speaking of Jamie Lee Price, we haven't seen her in the past couple of quarters. Really played the first quarter, and that's been all her contribution for this game.
Yeah, you wonder if she's being load managed, as many players are throughout the pre-season. Of course, when you get older, I'm not saying she's on the older side of things, Georgia, but I would say she's put a lot of minutes into her body, and especially being a diamond, there's extra toll of doing so. They don't really get a break, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a premeditated thing.
Absolutely. It's when you're playing those international netball, especially the time periods that now those games will sit, it does become a full year commitment. So it's about making sure these players stay at their optimum at the right points of the season as well. You know that Jamie Lee Price is probably one of the fittest players in this competition, so fitness really isn't a concern for her when coming into pre-season.
No, she'll hit the deck running in round one, I am sure.
Dehaney called for the obstruction down the other end. Harden will take the step in. Keep it at 10. It's been consistent now for quite some time. The two teams just going back and forth. We've seen these little patches of brilliance. Fever extending their lead. Harden called for the breaking. We've seen 3 breakings down this side of the court as well. Justin Barnes right on it.
Yeah, you can talk about coach killers. That is a really hard one to stomach. You saw on that centre pass set up Harton as the goal attack was the front option and the wing attack was further off the line. So it puts pressure on the goal attack. When you're taking that front position, you have to be that first lead. You have to get it right. On that moment, when the Fever score off a turnover and presented with their own centre pass, it just makes it hard getting to the later stages of this fourth quarter.
Absolutely. You can see the fatigue, but there's no fatigue at all for Wilkinson. Well, it's been a hard day of running for Jodie Ann Ward, you'd have to say. All the players that she's had against her throughout the game, all 3 goal attacks have been quite sprightly and efficient with their movement. That was a beautiful run there from Wilkinson.
Well, you speak about efficiency, it's just these feeds. You saw for Fever, it was a beautiful ball going back to post there. Just a bullet, a knife through the gut. And it's amazing how pinpoint these feeds are. There's not a lot you can do if you're talking about Ward. What can she do when the balls are coming in so nicely? You try and delay, you try and hold up, you try and pester one-on-one on the body, as she's done in that moment. It's worked out for her, but geez, it is a hard day at the office.
Absolutely. Is that when you need the call from your the players supporting you to also step up their defensive efforts to try and force the errors and force the long balls over the top?
Yeah, absolutely. For the mid-quarters, that's what you'd be calling for. If you can get some arms over, force that high long ball, at least it gives a second for the defenders, the circle defenders that is, to read the flight of the ball. So it is a full unit effort. But when it comes down to that last line of defence, you've just got to hope for the best.
Both defenders there for the Fever just seemingly stepping off the body and having a little bit of confusion who was meant to be running off that second ball to Leatherbarrow in the end. So again, still ironing out where their teammates are going to be defensively. A little tangle up there between Harton and Arang. She seems to just a quick apology between the two players.
Yeah, it looks like Arang's got a smile on her face, but we'll keep our eyes on that one.
Well, Fran Williams was standing before, but I don't think it was for substitution. I think it was to yell encouragement out to her team. She sat right back down, so it looks like potentially this could be the two lineups we'll see to finish out this match. Less than 5 minutes to play. The super shot siren has sounded. Leatherbarrow punching through the centre, uses width. But again, the long outstretched arms of Dehaney working so extensively hard to try and push those balls out, to try and get those deflections. Beautiful work there.
And again, it's the Fever setting up the defensive traps, especially with younger players in the midcourt. You want to pretend that there's space, and in that instance, it was a really small pocket of opportunity pressed against the baseline. That means it's easy to get the arm in, deflected. When the goal line acts as another defender, it almost feels like there are three in the ring. So very good work from the Fever backline as a timeout's called by the side in green.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you just saw Joe Harton go for that super shot. Immediately, the timeout is called. So really not long left to play in this game. So what do you think is being spoken about here in terms of just try and commit to those simple netball things, finish the game strongly? Do you think that's the kind of conversation these coaches are having with their teams?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Ryan, he won't want to take his foot off the pedal. There might be a score buffer, but it's been there the whole match, and we haven't seen it accelerate significantly beyond that 15-goal margin that we saw at halftime. So for the Fever, you still want to win quarter by quarter, so they want to put their foot down and see what damage they can do with the 5 minutes that they have in front of them. Meanwhile, the Giants, they don't want to finish day one with a sour taste in their mouth. They have moments of momentum, and you can see on screen different combinations speaking to each other. JLP chatting with Maddie Hay, so mid-quarters having a discussion, probably about that delivery, albeit they've finished chatting now. So both sides, there is so much to play for, but it's about each 5 minute period. What can you win? What can you do with 5 minutes upon 5 on 5? That's what netball's about. We've got fourth quarters, but 5 minute intervals in that means so much.
Absolutely, and well, potentially this could be the first loss in the pre-season for the Giants. They had 2 wins on the Riverina road trip they had with the Vixens, both by 1, but at certain points in the game, in the last quarter especially, the Giants were up by almost 11, but the Vixens were able to fight back. So they've had some tough opponents in the lead up. Well, Kranzberg out of play, top of the circle. Been called for a couple of those since she's made her way onto the court.
Yeah, confusing there for Harton when she's looking and she can see space around that baseline, really needs her goaling partner to take that space, but in that moment both goalers stuck out far, Harton having to do the sweep around. So it's about being economical, 3.5 on the clock. The Giants are so close now, 5 goals. It's the smallest margin we've seen in a while, so they need to put their foot down if they're going to get anywhere within the next 3.5.
Well, Teague Neal using almost all of her 3 seconds to look around, providing an option, really forced to go back. And again, Maddie Hay working wonders. You can tell she missed the first 6 games of last season due to that hip injury, but she makes such a difference on court in the mid-court no matter what position she is in for the Giants.
And even if her deflections aren't resulting in gains, you can see how much pressure it puts on. In that moment, we just saw Teague Neal. She had no one coming to the ball for her. There were no goalers doing anything, and it's stuff like this. It just builds momentum and it builds fatigue depending on which team is obviously putting their foot on the pedal.
Well, 6 goals was the difference, and that held ball call against Hope White. So just the opportunities slowly fading for the Giants to really come back and try and force the draw. Of course, no extra time to be played here at the Ballarat Blitz this weekend. Final scores stand. Well, with 2 minutes left to play, it looks like the Giants will call their final timeout. They've used all 4 of them in the game.
Well, why wouldn't you? In pre-season netball, you can have enough time to discuss. It's about learning. This week is about building this weekend, I should say, is about building connections and understanding different scenarios. What do you do with 2 minutes on the clock when the differential's like this? So both teams will be lapping up the opportunity and the next minute to figure out, okay, how do you win from this point, or how do you further propel your team forward with such a short time period?
Of course, we are here at Selkirk Stadium on Wadawurrung country in July for Victorian Netball League doubleheader, when we'll be celebrating First Nations round. The Victorian Netball League, of course, kicks off in just 10 days' time on Wednesday, the 12th of March, 11 days' time. My apologies, but should be a great season, Victorian Netball League. Of course, Hannah, you're excited as well because you'll be playing for the brand new championship side in Gippsland Stars.
Yes, when you said 11 days, I thought, oh my gosh, that has come around so quickly. It feels like pre-season goes for an eternity. And the Stars, we've been building, as you said, a new franchise. So there's been so much anticipation all summer. I can't wait.
It will be very exciting, of course. So many of these players, and we'll talk about it to a huge extent across the course of the weekend, have come through the Victorian pathway. So make sure you are staying tuned in on the Victorian Netball League through Netball Victoria's socials. We'll get back underway here. Jess Ansys, ball in hand. And immediately Jodianne Ward comes out flying, pushes it all the way so that Aaron, now in the goalkeeper position, has to go get involved. Fever looking to cut up the court with speed. Wilkinson just inside the one, goes for the mid-range shot, and she does well.
Yeah, I love the energy that's come out of Fever. You can tell they know what task lies ahead. They've got 2 minutes. They're pulling in ball, and it's so clinical. You can tell the whole team is so focused on the same style of play.
And also the change there for the Giants in wing defence. So Jamie Podmore-Taylor has come on. So another of the training partners there, of course, has been involved with the Giants for quite some time now. Is an academy product with them as well. Has previously played at the Australian Netball Champs with them. Now getting some valuable minutes here at the Ballarat Blitz. Harden takes the step in, looks around. Slager really had to try and on her tips of her fingers find a way to gain control over that ball. Harden, knowing that Arrington was going to come down, let her take that initial jump, had the open space to shot and get the super shot. 6 the difference, 1 minute and 3 seconds left to play. Kamwenda, strong on the drive. Wilkinson, delicate with her landing to make sure she lands in the 2. Kamwenda there for the offensive rebound.
Yeah, interesting play from the Fever. They're short on time, but still happy to put up the 2-point shot. So a vote of confidence when you've got such a strong offensive rebounder in MJ under post.
Well, it seems like Joe Hart knew that the obstruction call was coming. Try and put the shot up quickly. Have a second bite of the cherry where she can. Neither quite landed. Leatherbarrow using Hay, then again going for distance. Well, B won't be their centre pass to follow, so less than 15. Can we see a final goal in this game? Kamwenda, just such a great vertical leap, straight in the air, easy to deliver. Slager to Hay, wants to look long. Well, the siren will sound with the ball sailing over the goal line. And in the end, it was a game that we saw the margin out to 15 at some points. A tighter tussle in the end. It finishes West Coast Fever 68. Giants Netball 62.
Yeah, what a match of ebbs and flows, Georgia. This is why we love preseason netball, because every scenario gets thrown up. We've seen both benches be used, combinations that were maybe different to what you see during the SSN season, and different scenarios at play. A 15-goal match looks quite different to what happened in that last minute, where it almost felt like the Giants could have snuck a win in the very last seconds.
Oh, it almost felt like they could have snuck a draw. It was building towards being able to finally hit those marks. Joe Harden, coming into this game, playing goal attack for most of the second half, really throwing everything she could to try and get her team over the line here. Well, it was a brilliant